Another stock market stunner. What should you do after the Dow falls more than 500 points? We'll have some advice on how to handle the bad news bears.
And President Clinton meets with President Boris Yeltsin as the Russian leader tries to shore up his own economy so bad that it's sending shivers through Wall Street. This is CBS This Morning. I'm Jane Rovelo.
Morning, everybody. I'm Mark McEwen. Also this morning, got the blues? You don't have to have money in the market. You could be spending too much time on the internet. We've got results from a surprising new study that says the internet can be a major downer.
And Jose Diaz-Balart this morning is at the center of the tennis world at the U.S. Open in New York. Good morning, Jose.
Good morning, Jane. They call it U.S. women's tennis, but really, if you think about it, it's more like girls playing tennis. The hottest stars of the female tennis world, they're about 14, 15, 16 years old. But we'll introduce you to Lindsay Davenport, who at 22 is, well, kind of like a dinosaur. She could win this. We'll have that coming up.
Great way to start a month. This Tuesday morning, the 1st of September.
Man, if they're calling someone 22 a dinosaur,
We are so over the hill.
I'm a raptor.
That's why we're not athletes.
That's it.
We don't have to be old.
No,
No.
I'm an athlete with that clicker.
Well, you know, I think you're cool.
Right back at you.
Princess Diana, the first year anniversary of her death was yesterday, and so of course this week you're seeing a lot of pictures of her, photographs of her life. This morning, though, you're going to see some photographs that have never been published before. It's in a new book with a royal photographer who created this book is going to give us the story. The two of them had a rather remarkable friendship as well.
And all that glitters is not gold. Sometimes it's diamonds, emeralds, rubies. That's Eleanor Mondale's neck that they're putting all that on. She's going to introduce you to the man they call the jeweler to the stars. Not the caterer, the jeweler to the stars coming up.
More importantly still. First, though, let's take a look at the latest news this morning. Wall Street is hoping to bounce back this morning and rally from its massive slide. The Dow dropped more than 512 points yesterday. That is the second biggest point drop ever. Trading closed at 75.39, erasing any gains for the year. For reaction, we have three reports this morning from Wall Street, from London, and we begin in Tokyo with Bruce Dunning. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Jane. When the Asian markets opened this morning, they all started plunging immediately. So too did Tokyo. The Nikkei stock average fell more than 400 points in the first few minutes of trading. But then the buyers came back. The market started climbing and kept climbing all day. Tokyo finally closed up about 1 2/3%. Nowhere else in Asia was there such luck. Hong Kong prices tumbled on opening and struggled to recover somewhat during the day. Still, the market closed down almost 3%. Jane?
Bruce Dunning in Tokyo, thanks. Now, Tom Fenton has been tracking the activity in London, and he joins us this morning from that perspective. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Jane. Well, Europe's a bit like Tokyo. The markets here, as might be expected, were off sharply at the beginning, but they've recouped most of their losses. London at this point is down not quite 1%. Paris down about 0.5%. And Germany is only about 0.2% down. Now, the question still is, are we in a correction or is this a bear market? And analysts say you've got to make a differentiation. You have to differentiate between continental Europe, which is still up 25% this year, and Britain, which has lost all of its gains for the year. The markets right now are holding their breaths to see what will happen when Wall Street opens, Jane.
Tom Fenton, thanks. And now Randall Pinkston is at the New York Stock Exchange on the floor. Good morning, Randall.
Good morning, Jane. Well, they're bracing for another frantic day of trading here on Wall Street after yesterday's 512-point plunge. Since the July high of some 9,300 points, the Dow is down 1,800 points. That's 20% of the market, and a lot of people say that indicates the beginning of a bear market. Analysts are pointing to a number of factors for the sell-off. There's uncertainty in Asia, there's upheaval in Russia, and here at home, concern about corporate profits and a downturn in consumer spending. All of them reason enough for some investors to seek safe haven in cash while waiting for this storm to blow over. We'll see what happens. Jane?
Randall Pinkston, thank you. And of course, you can get an up-to-the-minute look at your own investments, including mutual funds and stocks, by checking out cbs.marketwatch.com. Well, the recent financial problems here have been sparked in part by Russia's spiraling economic crisis. President Clinton is in Moscow this morning for a two-day summit with Russian President Boris Yeltsin. Richard Threlkeld has more on that from Moscow. Good morning, Richard.
He is indeed, Jane. President and Mrs. Clinton just finished visiting a local school here in Moscow, where he told the students that Russia and Russians have always risen to the occasion in a crisis. He's confident that they will do so again this time. Even so, the prospects for this somewhat dreary. Even the weather is not cooperating. President and Mrs. Clinton arrived in Moscow today in a